stay together, people will stop confusing Barrios, Unidos, and Barras. And I've been thinking about women and their role in the movement oftentimes gets minimized.
Yeah, a lot of times people don't think about gender in prisons as similar issues. And when people are thinking about what fighting back looks like, that's oftentimes not something feminine.
And so we're gonna break it down real quick. California has had a prison building boom, even though crime rates were down. Now the US makes up 5% of the world's population, but has 25% of the world's prison population. Research shows that 1 in every 3 black males born today will go to prison and at some point in their life.
So why did they build them then, and how are they filling them?
That's an important question. The war on drugs, changes in policy and sentences, repression of political movements, challenging racism and poverty and war. But if we go too far into that, we won't get to the good parts, the resistance.
So back to that gender thing then, where do women fit into all this?
Well, the U.S. female prison population has grown by 400% since the introduction of the drug census in the 1980s. 75% of incarcerated women are mothers, and 5 to 6% are women entering prison or jail are pregnant at the time.
So what are women in our communities inside and outside doing to resist this violence?
Why don't we ask formerly and currently incarcerated people to shed some light on this? And we can start by asking women. We'll just put the question out there.
What would a world without mass incarceration look like? And here's what we heard. Misty Rojo, who spent 10 years inside, said, "Within the resilience of those of us who have been in women's prison lies a solution to many of our social problems. Almost all of us have survived interpersonal violence that is not acknowledged by our communities or the courts. People in women's prisons have had to learn to create safety structures outside of the legal system, which speaks to the dangers of trying to solve violence with a violent institution." And then Samantha Rogers was incarcerated for 17 years. When will we as women get a fair chance in life? Why must we always submit to society's laws and requirements? As incarcerated women, we are human beings too. We made mistakes, but who hasn't? We endure a lot, and along with children are a marker where mental, emotional, and physical abuse are transferred. When will we get some justice?
And Amy, who was formerly incarcerated for 2 years, stated that a world without mass incarceration would look complete. Today, when people go to prison, they are removed from the community, they are amputated from life and from the family that needs them. A world without mass incarceration means a chance to heal as a society, a community, a village, a family.
Miguel Marquez, who was incarcerated for over 10 years and spent 3 years in solitary confinement in California, said, "What a wonderful thought, what if politicians couldn't be bought? What if a mistake didn't lead to incarceration? What if we used prison for its actual intention? What if prison wasn't used as a form of detention? What if we implemented a cap or a limitation? What if instead the world stood up in favor of liberation? What if someone heard this and said, to hell with procrastination?"
And so Clint, who was formerly incarcerated for 35 months, tells a story about when he first arrived to prison, and he remembers the time that his dad took him to the San Francisco Zoo when he was around 5 or 6. And from then on, in solitary confinement, he celebrated his 21st and 22nd birthdays. He says in a world without mass incarceration, a 20-year-old would feel more comfortable on a college campus than on a prison yard. And so this picture above is a powwow at Soledad Prison Central Yard in 2013, a native spiritual experience that cannot be taken away.
Isn't that you right there?
Yeah, that was my first time in the prison. And so the picture above was created by Javier Jaro, and as much as they try to take or try to have prisons disappear people or their production of art and culture, a spirit of resistance endures when being forced to live in inhumane conditions. And we have puppets, and he talks about the spoken word piece right here. So, I am a product.
A product of gangs, prisons,
and broken homes.
A pawn worse off than a beggar.
I have been conditioned, convicted, and condemned.
You can take my life,
but you'll never have my soul.
I am the product.
Born to revolt.
So back to that woman thing, where do women fit into all this?
We're in the streets, we're in the prison, breaking through the walls, we're spiritually connected, and we're struggling for justice.
Thank you.